this space, open up, putting the ball to the floor and attacking the back of the defender.
And that goes on Ben Palmer, so the Quebec leader picks up his first foul 8 seconds in. Rossello gets himself back up. Number 5 down low for Manitoba. Here's number 13, Ryan Bolesky. Ends up losing it out of bounds.
Here we're seeing Quebec's back pick again.
And Colin Lalonde, after that back pick, rolls right to the rim, can't get the finish. And Lalonde really was the tone setter for them yesterday in that gritty battle against New Brunswick.
Yeah, it'd be really interesting to watch Colin Lalonde as the tournament goes on and see as he grows into this new role, more of a leader and starts to assert himself. Yesterday, we saw a lot of the Quebec offense start through Ben Palmer. Today, they're starting with the ball offside of him, and that's going to free him up going to the basket for some more of these one-on-one matchups. He'll be better able to use some of his speed and athleticism.
First free throw from Palmer is in and out. Second one for Ben. Goes through. So here comes Thomas Thiveno controlling at the top. He's got Elodie Tessier on him. And gets right to the rim, no good.
Nice cross pick by Josh Brown, and then a pick by Bernard Rossello to free him up.
Great pass down inside to Ben Palmer, who was leading the pack. Beth Johnson will be the initiator for the Manitoba offense on this trip up. Spins back around. Sealed off by Tessier. This is up to Josh Brown. Under 10 to go on the clock. No cuts for Manitoba right now. Quebec really sealing them out. They get one there. Finally, Rossello can't get the drop.
Nice little pick and roll. I thought that Manitoba tried to create by dribbling the ball a little bit too much early in that possession. Josh Brown went to pick for Beth Johnson, and she's got to move the ball with a pass out of that, not try to dribble out of that pick and roll.
Now Bernard Rossello, just 13 years old, another one of the younger athletes here in the competition. We'll get that one going. First one was off. Second one, no good as well. Rebounded by Palmer. Tessier brings it forward. Nice dump off to Lalonde. Good anticipation. And that one's loose. Back to Quebec.
Quebec's a little bit careless with the ball right now.
Palmer waiting just outside the arc and gets it to go. Quick 5-0 lead for Quebec here. Rossello, baseline, gonna put it up, no good. There's Tessier leading the way. Just a spin back out, she couldn't get a clean handle on it. They got Palmer, the trailer. Inside there's Lalonde working down low, gets the bump in, one.
Yeah, Rossello came up from his position down low and tried to help on the Quebec defender cutting. He needed to have the discipline to stay down on his defender and not help from low. It never works out well when you help from low in wheelchair basketball.
And you've seen here Quebec's pace early on has really gotten them out to this 8-0 lead as they're forcing Manitoba into some mismatches on defense.
We see a little bit of a pressure up court, a little bit different defensive look by Quebec as they're extending with a couple of defenders high.
Thivino gets an angle there, working into the paint, no good. And here comes Lalonde. Nobody picks him up, but knocked from behind. Brown thought he had a clean hand in there. It'll end up being a foul.
So nice drive to the basket by Colin Lalonde. But as he went to the basket, his left hand is his open hand on that drive. And that's a place where he needs to use that left hand for a little scoop layup, and he'll get an opportunity to make that basket.
Lalonde knocks that one down.
Trying to dribble against that pressure. Josh Brown needs to post the ball away and then let somebody come and pick for him.
Thivino gets it in, and there'll be a foul. Well, it'll be an offensive foul. That's Ryan Bolesky.
First personal foul, the fourth team foul.
Berube will bring this up. Good pick from Lalonde there. And now Palmer has 3 defenders collapsing on him, and they force the turnover. A lot of traffic in the middle of the floor. Brown sealed off by Woody Belfort, number 4 for Quebec.
Much better ball movement by Manitoba now. They're looking to post the ball to other teammates and share the ball handling duties, move the ball up court better.
Side out of bounds here. Quick outlet there. Brown gets it back, has a look, deep shot, no good.
So with these Quebec defenders starting to extend out on the perimeter, Manitoba has to recognize that spacing that they get and look for cuts and picks, particularly off ball. Right now they're getting caught watching the ball a little bit and missing some of those reads.
Look for that outlet pass, not there. Johnson, just to heave it up with the shot clock going down, no chance there. And Quebec saved it so they won't get the stoppage, works to their advantage. Lalonde into Palmer, he's got a one-on-one matchup. Belfort comes along the cavalry to help out. Quick 11-0 lead.
Nice pass by Ben Palmer, putting it right where Woody Belfort needs to have that ball in order to get his balance and take a shot going to the rim.
Here's Lambert controlling. Inside Brown, nothing there. And Thivino's got to get back, but Palmer leading the way. A little too strong off glass. Pass intercepted back to Lalonde. Cash right there, and a quick timeout down 13-0 here.
So Coach Jaworski has a young team. He wants to settle them a little bit, remind them to get back to some things. He's probably also talking to them a little bit about the spacing that they're starting to see from the Quebec defense. As the Quebec defense comes out, it's opening up those opportunities for picks and cuts, and to see off ball and not get caught ball watching. And that's a challenge for a young team. A young team gets caught. Young players tend to ball watch, and they tend not to read the defense. So he's probably just settling them down and pointing out what we're seeing here.
And you've seen that as well. The pace Quebec plays with, they weren't ready to handle that right from the tip, especially with the pressure coming down on the offensive end.
Yeah, Quebec likes the pace to be fast. They practice like this every day. They're used to executing at this pace. Manitoba's not quite used to this same pace yet as they're developing, and so their execution's challenged a little bit more.
Lambert will be the point man for the offense on Manitoba's trip.
You can see the gaps in the spacing opening up, and Josh Brown on the offside tried to pick for Beth Johnson.
Over Beth's head as they lob that one.
See Manitoba doing something similar that we saw in Ontario in the last game. Coming back, they're just starting their defense a little bit tighter than Ontario did.
Quebec getting some subs in. Tristan Lessard handling the ball, number 34. Lalonde makes the catch, no contest. He'll put it up and drain it.
Still nice defense by Manitoba, doing a good job going under and switching on some of these different picking opportunities and keeping Quebec away from the basket, forcing them to take an outside shot. Huge gap there for Manitoba.
Couldn't quite convert as Palmer came over to contest on Matt Wilton, number 14 for Manitoba. Now Palmer has Lalonde on the break. Textbook pass right there to his teammate.
Yeah, Colin Lalonde just very quietly producing out there.
Lambert onto the wing. Johnson tries to free herself up. Looking for help, lobs it cross court. Josh Brown deep post position, and he breaks the drought.
Josh Brown able to get into the key off of Bernard Rosello's seal. That opened things up for them.
You see already there, Tessier with a great job taking out the defender as Lalonde scooted right by, and Bougie draws the foul.
Yeah, Beth Johnson got caught just pivoting her chair just as he's in the act of shooting, giving him that little bump, and we've seen the officials calling it tight throughout the tournament.
Second personal foul. It is the fifth team foul.
Bougie's first free throw, no good. The second one is up and off as well. Loose ball tipped, it'll stay with Quebec. Unlucky bounce.
Yeah, one of the things you see a lot of the players in these boxing out situations in the free throws, they're pushing straight into the key instead of taking an angle to box people out. It's a small little fundamental skill that they need to work on. Add to their game.
Palmer. Tessier open on the other side, and she drains it. Quebec's got a hot shooting start.
Yeah, you can see they haven't started the ball through Ben Palmer today. They've done a better job starting it in somebody else's hands and rotating the defenders.
And Wilton goes down. Brown gets into the paint off of it.
Nice recognition by Josh Brown in that space, that rotating defender. Cut on the back pull up, take that short jumper instead of rotating into the and pushing into the defense.
Lalonde spins up top, fires it over. Bougie. Lalonde, he's got space. Looking to be a passer. Over to Palmer on the wing. He'll take that one on the baseline, well short. Bougie sneaks in for the board and puts it up and in.
So some great defensive possession by Manitoba. They did a good job, rotating their chairs and stopping the cuts to the basket and keeping them outside. They fell asleep for just that one moment, and that let that offensive rebound occur.
Can't miss the box out there.
Nice cross pick by Spencer Lambert.
And he gets rewarded with the bucket.
So there's that extended defender we talked about that Manitoba has to pick and take advantage of. Spencer Lambert saw it. Josh Brown rotated the ball to him nicely.
On a miscommunication there for Manitoba as they all collapsed on Palmer up top, and Lalonde had a wide open lay-in.
I think they got caught celebrating the basket.
23-4, Quebec leads. Brown chucks that one up. He'll draw a foul.
Foul on team Quebec, number 5, Wilson.
So we've seen a lot of the teams try to attack high, high on the wings in the earlier games, and we haven't seen that to be really effective. It results in outside shots. It doesn't get them to the rim. The opportunities we've seen that have gotten teams to the rim are the ones that have come out of crossing picks or cross picks.
Brown's shot there, no good.
Yeah, as the tournament moves on, it'll be interesting to see which teams can find that balance between that high-low attack and the crossing attack.
Palmer puts that up and in. Brown over to Rosello, has some space. He'll go up with it. Can't get the roll.
Yeah, good-looking shot by young Bernard.
Palmer dishes to his teammate Colin Lalonde. Down low, Tessier. Nice screen and steal there.
Yeah, Manitoba is doing some things well on defense, but they need to box out and finish the possession.
Palmer's shot. That's good. He's got it working today.
Manitoba wasn't coming out to put pressure on him like New Brunswick did yesterday. New Brunswick would send 2 defenders at Ben, really make it difficult for him to get a wide open look.
Lambert comes up for the pick. A little late on the roll, nowhere to go with the ball. 10 seconds left. Brown will let it go just outside the elbow, no good. And here comes Lalonde surveying the floor. Deep three, nearly knocked it down.
Good clock awareness by Colin Lalonde to recognize that the time left and then slow him down so he could take that 3 and not rush in and take a bad shot. Not a bad look to close out the quarter.
And what we've seen here is Quebec leads 27-4. Sort of Ontario in the last game we had against an overmatched opponent in Newfoundland was a little lackadaisical when they first came into this one, but Quebec right off the jump executed and did it with speed. They are not taking any plays off.
We could see some tiny little things that Quebec is doing differently than yesterday. The first thing is they're not starting the ball through Ben Palmer. They're starting it someplace else. That frees up Ben to move and attack without the ball. And that's got him a couple of looks going to the basket. That probably helped his rhythm a little bit too. And then we saw him hit that outside shot. And they're spreading the ball around because they're not starting it with Ben Palmer as well. And they're attacking offside, so they're getting some good looks. And then in full court transition, they've had some nice layups to give themselves a bit of that breathing room and some easy buckets to start. Manitoba on the other side, a little bit slow out of the gate, a little bit slow to recognize that cross pick and then execute it. And they're trying to execute that cross pick with the dribble instead of with a pass. It's worked for them a couple of times with the dribble, but against this Quebec team, the way they move their chairs, the way they can move on the court, that's going to be tough to consistently generate offense through a dribble out of that cross pick. What they'll need to do, get the cross pick set and then swing the ball.
And what are you doing if you're Manitoba defensively to try to throw Quebec out of their rhythm?
So Manitoba's got to recognize transition defense, get back quickly, so they have all 5 players back. They've done okay in the half court. Where they've struggled in a couple of spots is they've had lapses in concentration at the very end of the possession and allowed some offensive rebounds. So in the half court, there's just a half court defensive. We just have a couple things to tweak out.
Palmer will inbound at half court. Quebec will retain possession as we start the second quarter. This is Aurélie Jacob-Verreau, number 23, in for Quebec. Shot at the free throw line, short.
So good defensive possession by Manitoba. We see them rotating, stopping chairs, keeping Quebec outside. But at the very end of the possession, we saw them also collapse off those Quebec players and start to give a bit of space. Only the rebound affected that, prevented them from getting that an offensive rebounder.
Beth Johnson up top trying to use a Brown screen. She lobs it across court. Thivino on the baseline, halfway down and out. Rossello calling for help, and late move over from Josh Brown. Lucky he didn't get called for the foul there. Verreau's second effort, no good. Johnson in a race with Bougie to come up with it. She grabs it. And a collision on the other side of the floor as Belfort locked up with, looks like Ryan Bolesky on the other side of the court.
Great sportsmanship. You see Rudy Belfort helping Ryan up, give him a little tap. You can see the gaps opening up in the Quebec defense as Manitoba creates space.
Stuck on this side is Thivino.
Thomas is trying to create out of the dribble, and that's not the way to create against this Quebec team.
Belfort picks it up on the breakaway. Can't get it to go. Second effort from him, no good. Tipped around, loose. And they'll get a offensive foul on Bougie there.
So even there in transition, you saw Rudy Belfort ahead in the break, and the Manitoba defender Josh Brown trailing him. He needs to look to box out that trailing defender. The play's over. He's not going to stop Woody's shot. He needs to go to the next play, stop that offensive rebounder.
Bougie hops up, straps himself back in.
Young players, they have a tendency of ball watching, and one of the places we see that is on the shot. They turn, they watch the shot instead of boxing out. Nice cross pick by Beth Johnson.
Gave Rossello a little bit of space. Can't knock it down. Thivino's shot, no good. And Thivino now taken out of the play totally by Elodie Tessier.
Yeah, Elodie Tessier really quick on transition, going from defense to offense, quickly recognizing when they're in possession of the ball, setting those picks, and that's creating a lot of these man-out advantages for Quebec.
And you've mentioned your work with her at the National Academy, and she's really strong in that area.
Yeah, she's a very talented young player on our senior women's program who can do all of the skills. She's what I would describe as a jack of all trades, master of none. That makes her able to do everything that's needed by the team on the court.
Trap on that side. Brown will just shoot it up. Goes out of bounds, Quebec basketball.
And there you go. You see her right away. She's trying to set that pick on Thomas Thivino from Manitoba.
And when you're playing against someone who's as much of a pest as that, how is it easy to be thrown out of your rhythm when you're consistently being attacked in the backcourt?
Oh, it changes your game. You've got to think a little bit farther ahead, and you stop thinking about what you're doing in the moment sometimes.
Verreau almost got that reverse to drop. They give it back to her. She spins around. Give it to Palmer. Over to Bougie, who's got the long arms to go up and get it. And a late foul call will send Alex to the line just before the buzzer of the shot clock.
So Manitoba's doing a good job in their defense inside the half court. They're starting to stop. They're stopping Quebec from getting to the rim pretty consistently now. Again, they just need to make sure they box out, and they got to get all 5 players in. They're so much stronger when they get 5 players in. So they're going to have to make some decisions a little bit sooner so they don't get picked out by Tessier from Quebec, and help each other get back in on defense too.
You see now at the other end, Ryan Bolesky trying to stretch the floor, take Belfort out of the play.
Watch the Manitoba players. Let's see if they come in at an angle and do a better job boxing out.
And they almost did. Lucky to get it away from Bougie as no one got the shooter. A little too aggressive on that reach in there on the swipe. It'll be a foul.
You know, one of the things young players want to do is when they're on the line like that, they want to communicate with each other about roles and responsibilities so everybody knows who they're boxing out.
And some subs set to come in for Manitoba. Rossello, Beth Johnson, and Bolesky will come out. Lambert will return, and getting in for the first time will be Teo Raw, number 10, and Matt Wilton will return too.
There's that cross pick high. And he's trying to dribble around it. He's got to move it with a pass.
Well, and Tessier is so effective at escaping that pick too and not getting caught.
Really difficult person to pick.
Brown has to let it go from deep off the backboard. Belfort moving down the left side. Vero gets chipped out at half court. They give it up. Bougie over the top, no good.
Yeah, Spencer Lambert has to watch that in the open court. Getting extended, he needs to come back and play with the rest of his teammates on defense. And again, Manitoba doing a good job making Quebec go over top of them. I can still see them collapsing in though, and that's going to cost them as the game goes on as they create offensive rebound opportunities for Quebec.
Lambert, pick. Thivino fights through the contact, can't get the roll. He'll get a couple foul shots.
So for Manitoba, as they start looking at using these cross-picking opportunities, and they've gotten the pick set, instead of dribbling, they need to post the ball. What they'll need some other teammates to recognize that post and call for the ball and make themselves available for it. So there'll be 2 parts. One is recognizing to post it. Second is having somebody recognize they need to be a post.
Thivino off on the second. That's number 3, Jean-Charles Giguère, in for his first minutes. Gets it stripped by Raw. Nearly stripped. Good aggressive effort on D.
I like how Coach Palmer's getting some of his younger players in to get them some experience that they're going to need for later on in the tournament and for the next Canada Games.
Vero parading just below the elbow. Shot is short. May have gotten tipped. Here goes Waugh. Up the floor. He's got a ton of open space. Didn't attack, though. Tried to get it inside.
That's a tough look, passing it into Matthew Wilton when he's being guarded by Alex Bougie. That's not the matchup they want to take advantage. Someplace else on the court, though, Manitoba has a matchup advantage. That's the one that Teo's got to see.
Kick it out back to Lambert. He's going to let it fly in and out. And Manitoba had a bunch of shots that have gone halfway down and popped back out. Tessier sets her angle, hits Bougie, wasn't ready for it. Finds Giguère through the arms, second effort, no good. Rebound, Manitoba.
You can see Manitoba picking here in the open court.
Really nice job there by
And
Wilton.
there's a space that opens up.
Can't get it to go. Brutal. But yeah, Matt Wilton in the backcourt there totally took Bougie out of that play.
So violation, warning, it looks like one of the Manitoba players went out of bounds. And that's something that's a little bit different. Sometimes you see that in stand-up basketball where a player will go out of bounds. They don't really call a violation, but because position's so key in wheelchair basketball, they have to make that call. Players have to stay in the field of play.
Belfort works that screen, pass just out of the arms of Verroche, couldn't get there, gets it back. Sends away, Giguère has space, he's got to let that one go. Off the back of the iron. Now Lambert gets it with some movement. Let's see if Manitoba can convert on semi-transition. Brown sealed away. Wilton comes up for the pick. There's the roll. They couldn't get it to him though.
Again, he's trying to dribble to create that pick and roll.
This is number 6, Rose Beliveau. Dumps it back to Verreau. She works her way inside, flips it up and in.
Yeah, Spencer Lambert got caught a little bit late recognizing the changing threats and got there just a second too late.
Here's Lambert. Below the foul line, into Wilton. Wilton puts it up and through.
There's that cross pick that we've been seeing Manitoba use to create scoring opportunities.
Beliveau. Working, gets stripped. Here comes Manitoba now. Brown. Belfort's done a great job sealing him out of the paint this entire first half. And there's the cut to Wilton. He's open. Couldn't get it out of his hand.
Really nice pick by Matthew Wilton in the open court, and nice patience. He kept that pick. He stuck that pick. He waited till his teammates were set up, and then he released into space. Really like the patience by Matthew on that.
Did end up with the foul call. Puts that one up. No good. Wilton second. Up in, just out. And Brown getting screened out here in the backcourt. Thivino, good contest, but better battle to the rim there by Berube.
Yeah, it's a tough one for Spencer Lambert. So they get the rebound, and they've got somebody breaking. But he's got to recognize if he doesn't have a good passing angle on that, rather than try to force the play.
Giguère tries to whip it inside, and Quebec the last couple minutes has gotten a little careless with these passes.
They've got some people handling the ball that aren't normally in those roles as much, and so the decision making is a little bit different for them.
Brown gets the bounce. Manitoba up to 8.
Nice little fadeaway. Josh Brown pulls back just a little bit to create that space for that fadeaway jumper.
Here's Belfort, kicks it over. And Verreau trying to cross that one over, ends up turning it over. Number 14, Gabe Giguère will check in for Quebec. inside from Lambert. Batted and fumbled around. They'll get a foul call.
Yeah, you can see that gap continuing to open up at those elbows up high. It's open for either a cut or a cross pick for Manitoba.
Quebec number 3, CWG. The second personal foul. Fourth team foul.
Lambert inside. Oh, can't buy a bucket. Theveno's second effort, and they're not going to give it to him. Brutal break.
Painful for him, man. He's gonna.
We have an offensive foul on that.
They're getting him for the clear out. As he went up for that rebound, he kind of pushed the Quebec player's hands out of the way to grab that basketball, and so he got called for clearing out.
Tough
I
break.
think that only makes that made basket even more painful. I like the hustle by Thomas Theveno, though. He got open offside, did a little facing cut that got himself into the key, so he read the gap that was available. And that's good. They're creating some good scoring opportunities. Manitoba is. They just need to, take that breath that we talked about. That know how much time you've got to shoot and use that time. Sometimes you have to shoot quick, but if you've got a second to take a breath, take it.
Technical foul on Team Quebec.
Quebec going to pick up a tech here. Not sure.
I think it might be too many points.
At the line for Team Manitoba.
Coach Palmer seems confused.
Look at Josh Brown.
Yeah, I think it might be too many points on the court. That's a really rare error for Coach Palmer to make. Coach Palmer is one of the bright young coaches in the country, and he's gotten a lot of opportunities with our senior men's national team as an assistant coach because he's got some great creative ideas in performance analytics.
How big of a part of the game are analytics in the wheelchair game? Because in the stand-up game and in the NBA, it's becoming almost the norm at this rate.
It's still an area where wheelchair basketball is developing, and wheelchair basketball doesn't have the resources that the stand-up game has right now to be able to do real-time analysis at the same level, but they're starting to grow in that area.
Theveno spins away, gets himself some space. You got to take that shot, and he knocks it down. Really nice possession there.
Nice little fadeaway, but Manitoba's got to remember their bread and butter is not going to come out of creating off the dribble.
Get it down to a 20-point deficit, under a minute to go in the half. Over to Berube. Vero, foul line, she sticks it.
Still a good possession by Manitoba defensively. They're making Quebec go over top. They're consistently starting to stop some of these cuts and picks.
Over to Theveno, he's got a little bit of room. He'll put it up, drain it. He's got himself going now, 4 straight points. Vero fires cross court. Nice catch from Berube, ready to shoot as well. 2 seconds left. Josh Brown will just hold. So good fight back there the last 4 minutes. Manitoba get this deficit back down to 20.
Yeah, Manitoba came out a little bit cold. They had some opportunities. We saw the ball rimming out. Big things that they've settled themselves down, and you can see them thinking the game as they're moving along. And they're starting to recognize those cross picks and the gaps at the elbows more consistently. Still need to move the ball. They don't create offense by dribbling out of that pick. They're going to create it by ball swing and rotating defenders. That's going to get them there, and then taking their time on some of those shots. They've done a nice job defensively, making Quebec go over top, not letting them come in. They're really consistent. You can see the discipline there. They also have to have discipline on the offensive boards. Quebec, their bread and butter, it was getting those back picks and having the gaps in the open court. And with Tessier out, some of the other players from Quebec have to take on that read and pick in the open court, and then yeah, recognize the Quebec player or the Manitoba players packing it in a little bit more and being a little more patient to move and create gaps to attack.
We'll be back with the second half in just under 10 minutes.
It's the funniest thing when you're doing this. I feel like I sound different.
Oh, I know.
Because I'm listening to myself.
You're actually louder, too.
And then I'm trying to always say things that don't really ever rip on people.
Don't you what?
Rip on people?
No.
Like, how can you say, like,
Oh, I know, because I've listened to almost every. I listen on the way up in the truck. Exactly. But you gotta, I guess we have to assume that new people coming in every single time they watch, right? Well, that's when you start What up, gorgeous? when play cars and blanket. That is going to be, well, I think that's going to be the match that determine the first place.
I'll be back.
Are you videotaping?
It's mine.
Anything you want to talk about?
It's the same stuff we closed out with, probably.
Back for the second half of Quebec and Manitoba here in Game 3 on this Monday afternoon. Quebec leading 33-13. What are you looking for from Manitoba as they fight their way back in the second half?
Defensively, they've got to make sure they make quick decisions and get back on defense, and then they need to box out. The core of their defense has been really good. Quebec, they need to generate some more of those back picks that we talked about. That's really a backbone of their offense.
Theveno sealed off on the baseline. Palmer will bring it across.
You see Bougie with that back pick and the gap opening up, and there we go. He goes to the basket. So that back pick is so key for Quebec, generating high-quality shots. They shot 55% in the first half. It was largely because of those kinds of transition opportunities.
Beth Johnson brings it forward. Rosello charges in the lane, and as you saw those back wheels go up, they stick with it, call an offensive foul.
Nice job getting the back pick by Rosello. Really good job. Again, just needs to slow himself down as he rotates in and see where the defender is rotating from, because that's where the opening occurs.
Berube throw that one up.
And we see Manitoba struggling with their defensive rebounding. They're not seeing the ball and positioning themselves.
Here's Palmer. Gonna shoot and drain it.
So you see Manitoba's recognizing they've got somebody on Quebec now that they can backpick more easily. So now they're going to try to generate transition opportunities with a player out.
That one's picked off by Palmer. And now they got a big advantage. Johnson can't get back into the play in time. Dishes it off to Vero, and she finishes. Johnson operating at the elbow.
So we see Bernard Brissell getting that back pick again.
Vero hits that one. Marcelo the board. Johnson.
And there's the cross pick opportunity again for Manitoba with Quebec extended on the point.
Nothing comes of it though. And another turnover there. Both attempts at the screens got totally snuffed out by the Quebec defense.
Well, what's got to happen is Manitoba's got to post to the ball. They've got to move to the ball instead of moving out to receive that pass.
A quick timeout here with Quebec extending their lead.
Yeah, I think Coach Jaworski's recognizing that they need to make a slight adjustment, get back to recognizing that cross pick, because Quebec's being consistent in extending that defender on the point. They're doing the right thing to move the ball instead of try to pick and roll with the ball. But that means that post has to move to the ball to control the passing lane to receive it. On the other side, Quebec's done a good job jumping out high and anticipating that pass and jumping into the passing lane, and that's what's resulted in some of these scoring opportunities right away in this early in this half.
So 7:07 remaining. Quebec up. Now you see Quebec will most likely move to 2-0 here. Ontario 2-0. Alberta 2-0. What team out of those three do you like is the favorite moving into the medal round on Wednesday, Thursday?
I don't think you can claim that there's a favorite at this particular point. If you gave an edge, it might be to Alberta. But there's still some more to be played, some more basketball to be played. And it'll be really interesting to see as they start to play tougher competition moving on, how they take the learning from games like this and apply it in that game.
And a big one, especially tonight, is Alberta will play Ontario in the late game. Thivino up top, probing around. Nothing happening. They get Brown on the baseline.
Yeah, there's that crossing action up high. Even if the two players just simply exchange position, they prevent the defenders from jumping out and putting pressure, and you get an uncontested shot after you swing the ball. So you see the slight adjustment coming out of the timeout.
They swing it to Palmer. Got a nice dump into Bougie, that goes up with his long arms. Makes the catch. And Vero and Johnson tied up. They unlock.
Second personal foul. It is a second team foul.
Bougie's first free throw is short.
You can see Bernard Rosello already starting to pick the Quebec player.
And they also have Ryan Bolesky back as well. And maybe a more concerted effort here from Manitoba, who got beat so many times on those fast breaks in the first half, to always have a couple defenders back.
Well, it's interesting on the free throw again. We saw a boxing out problem by Manitoba. They need to push in at an angle to box out on those free throws instead of straight.
Dump that one in. Bougie again, and he finally makes good on it. Johnson looking around. She's going to just chuck that one. Actually ended up being a great look to Josh Brown, sneaking in on the baseline.
Yeah, he caught the Quebec defender out of position and cut on her back on the baseline.
Here's Berube.
Question for you. Yep. I'm here at 8:30 the next 2 days. I know, and I'm checking into that. Okay.
Bougie comes down with a lot of speed. Nice job there, stopping himself and then getting up, extended to finish.
Took his time as he's rolling in, even when he got up on one wheel, tilted like that. He took the time that he had and didn't just panic and throw up a crazy shot. So that was really good patience by Bougie.
Here's Brown. Looking around. They go cross court. Even though another spin move. Gets that space and goes off glass and in. Here's Palmer. Looking around. Drains it. Ben Palmer's got that jumper working today.
Yeah, you can see Manitoba's also starting to stretch out a little bit on defense, and they've got to be cautious. They were really good in the first half, staying in tight, preventing shots to the cuts to the basket, and they're starting to stretch out. That's going to open up some of those gaps that could give Quebec some scoring opportunities going to the rim.
Nice catch there by Josh Brown. They dump into Bolesky. Tough grab. Couldn't make it.
It's a tough angle to catch the ball at, coming over your shoulder.
And Bougie in again. That one's off. And if you're Manitoba, even though you've made those last couple shots from the outside, you don't want to get content and start settling.
No, you have to stick with your game plan and continue to look for those crossing opportunities and then swinging the ball.
Brown will get caught there on the reach.
Foul on Team Manitoba, number 4, little captain, Josh Brown. Third personal foul.
Josh's third foul.
Second team foul. Timeout charge to Team Quebec.
Quebec will take a timeout
At this
here.
time, I'd like to thank you to all of our great team of volunteers who are making these Canada games possible.
Yeah, we see Tessier coming back out. I'd expect her to set some picks right off the bat. Yeah, I think Coach Jaworski's starting to identify his players are getting a little bit anxious, start to creep out in their defense. He's identified those gaps, and he's going to tell them, hey, let's calm down. Let's stay with what we were doing in the first half. That worked in the half court. Now with Tessier coming out, it's probably also reminding them, hey, remember, we've got to get back on defense. Let's make that decision quickly, and let's help each other get back in. With Coach Palmer, he's got a slightly different lineup that go into some different roles out there, and he's probably just reminding his players of what they're going to be doing to help each other get open on offense and on and get stops on defense.
Inside there's Lalonde working. Can't get it to drop. Lambert gets it to Isaacs. They get it up court.
There's that extended defender that Manitoba has to pick.
Especially Tessier, you can see her movement just as good going backwards as she's going forwards to stop that screen from happening. Lalonde working behind. They dump it into Giguère, who finishes with his left hand. Brown, long pass into Lambert, gets those arms up, but can't extend and finish. And a nice recovery there by Lambert after missing the shot. Gets back to stunt the play.
And hustles back on defense, but Beth Johnson's picked out.
And they end up missing that look.
And there's also able-bodied and disabled as well. Not everybody's military.
That shot short from Josh Brown.
It's not a bad look for Josh Brown to take. He's just spinning his chair a little bit. He's got to get him set before he takes that shot.
And there goes Gabe Giguère falling over on that pass.
Foul on Quebec, number 14.
So one of the skills young players can learn is what they call a bounce stop in wheelchair basketball. And what that is when you're dribbling the ball up in the open court or in the court, what you do is you bounce the ball, grab both your wheels, then reach out to grab the ball. It's a simple fundamental skill that not enough players spend time doing, and they end up running into defenders like that.
There's Lambert. And Beth had that screen underneath, but I think it got tipped.
I think she rushed the shot because Matthew Wilton was telling her to put it up because he'd been in the key too long.
Vero works in there. She's had a strong game, and it continues.
Yeah, just a nice, steady player. Very smart, very athletic. She's young, one of the promising young athletes that Quebec's been developing.
Lambert cut off, finds Josh Brown. Isaac's in there battling, trying to take up two defenders. Lambert with the catch, gets tipped away. Active hands from Colin Lalonde. Ends up getting the finish.
There's a cross pick by Elodie Tessier.
Dumps inside Gabe Giguère. Nope. Tip loose. Jean-Charles Giguère grabs that.
There's another one of those offensive rebounds. Manitoba's got to fix that boxing out.
What a great play right there by Elodie Tessier. Nabbing that loose ball and flipping it back over. That'll end the third quarter. So Quebec on their way to their second win in as many days.
At the end of the third quarter, it is Quebec 53.
We head to the fourth. Josh Brown on the Manitoba side imploring his teammates to try to pick the energy up with Lambert.
Yeah, Josh has a little bit more experience than the other Manitoba players. He's one of the players that trains out at Wheelchair Basketball Canada's academy, their national training center in Toronto. So he's played against more higher level players. He's more experienced. He's used to that type of thing. He's still a young player. It's his first year out there, but he's the one that can speak up and help be a little bit of a leader out here for that Manitoba team.
And for him, you obviously don't want to become frustrated even though you're working with some of the players that you're not used to playing with of a lesser degree, while just trying to channel your energy positively towards them when you're in a situation like this.
Yeah, what helps so much is reminding a young player that's put in a leadership position as they're dealing with their teammates as they're teaching them, and I say teaching them, is to think, how would I want to be taught? How would I want a veteran to be speaking to me to get the most out of me? And then you coach, and then you lead that way. Neat opportunity for a lot of the young Quebec players here to get into the game and get a chance to do some different things. And I like the way Nick Palmer's staying with those young players. You know, he's continuing to put them in those situations where they get the opportunities to learn, and not just pulling them out after maybe a couple of mistakes.
Quebec will possess it first. Here's Lalonde, top of the circle. Kicks it across. Jean-Charles Giguère puts it up and makes it.
So not a bad look to give up by Manitoba to that outside shot. But what they've got to watch is they started to extend up on the point, and Elodie Tessier had a cross pick and was available rolling to him. So they've got to watch how much they extend.
There's Josh Brown working his way inside and hits the deck.
Yeah, he saw the Quebec defender anticipating the pick by his teammate. Instead of reading pick, the complimentary read off that is to cut. And so he read the overplay by the Quebec defender and was able to drive.
Josh knocks down the first free throw.
Yeah, Josh had nice space off the defender, and that gives him both the read to pick or cut. And that recognizing that if you have space, you get complimentary reads is so important for players to develop that skill.
Tessier comes out of the traffic with it. And in goes Giguère for the lay-in.
Yeah, that open look came from Vero's seal in the open court in transition.
Pass down to Brown. At the hash mark, he knocks it down. Here comes Vero. Spins free, dump off, nothing there. Next one, no good. Third effort, and they get it to drop.
Yeah, you see that final effort came from that third player that got that offensive rebound, and that's that boxing out.
Bivano, he's had a strong afternoon. Gets the angle there, great screen from Brown, but he can't finish. Comes the Law in full head of steam and caught raw. Black not ready to adjust his angle.
Yeah, the Manitoba defender got caught facing that cutting Colin Lalonde, and Colin's got too much speed to not be able to take advantage of that.
Teo Rock gonna put it up. Nothing there. Pass inside, nothing there off Giguère miss. And the Lawn getting really aggressive at half court there.
Foul on Quebec, number 8, numero 8, Colin Lalonde, first personal foul. Second team foul.
I think Colin was trying to get a foul that time so he could get a sub rotation put in.
They will do that and get Lessard and Woody Belfort back out there.
It's a nice read. You see Matthew Wilton coming up to try to pick those subs coming in to create that transition opportunity right out of a substitution.
Loose ball. Lalonde battling, boxing out, gets it. Giguère. And another time for Giguère, like you mentioned, that the second time now he's gone barreling into the defender.
Yeah, there's that spot where, you know, if young players spend time working on these simple little fundamental skills like a bounce stop, he's got that skill to use in that space, and he doesn't pick up that offensive foul. And he keeps space from the defender, opening up other reads as well.
Here's Brown. Inside, over his head.
So slight change from Manitoba where they're starting the ball on the wing and then exchanging offside, and then when they swing the ball, looking for that baseline cutter.
Lalonde will reverse field. Get it inside, that's Giguère. Nothing. Job rebounding from Brown, packing the paint. Steadies himself, knocks it down. Good composure there to fully set himself and let that one go.
Yeah, he took the time to get his balance and alignment and take that breath that we've been talking about earlier in the game. We saw him take a shot where he's spinning a little bit, doesn't quite have his balance and alignment.
That one whipped down low. Thivino spinning up top. Brown works off that pick from Wilton. He's got two guys locked up. Brown almost trying too hard there to get it to the screener instead of just taking the open shot.
Yeah, Josh was open. He had a mismatch in height. He could have just taken that post-up shot right there. It's not really the space for Matthew Wilton to roll to the basket, and Josh kind of forced in there. You got to recognize what the better shot is.
Kick to Lalonde. Nothing there. There's Brown working on Lessard. He gets knocked over.
I'm not quite sure what happened there. Josh Brown was laying on the ground with the ball. Normally, the officials are pretty quick to recognize that and call that a violation. Yeah, it's a little bit different. In able-bodied basketball, you fall down, you got the ball, you could pass it from that. You can't get up. Otherwise, it's travel. In wheelchair basketball, you fall down with the ball. That's a violation, and it's sending the other way.
Lucky break for Manitoba. Just over 5 minutes remaining in this game. And now he's got the same play happening. Thivino with Teo Raw trying to take out two. Long shot, no good. They get the long board.
So we don't see Quebec extending quite as much on the point as they did earlier. There's a little bit of an adjustment that Nick Palmer's made with his team.
That one's long as well. Lalonde rips it down. He's got nowhere to go. Raw pesting him. Get it up over half. Giguère whips it back to Lalonde, who snuck in back door.
Yeah, Colin Lawn just very quietly having a really solid game and starting to grow as the tournament's going on. He's patient to identify that space and then cut to those opening gaps. He's not forcing the play.
I hate this back and forth.
Here's Josh Brown. Weaving in and out.
You can see Colin Lalonde really sagging to force the Manitoba players to shoot from outside.
Belfort up. The lawn. Great stop there from Holland so he didn't get pushed out of bounds.
I have to watch the screen to like see what's on the screen.
Brings it back. Giguère re-steadies himself. Awkward angle.
And Giguère's getting in a lot. He's like a cutting machine there. Somebody from Manitoba's got to put their chair up on him and then maybe even call for some help to stop those cuts.
And now Lalonde really getting up into Josh Brown.
There's that cross pick by Matthew Wilton.
And he drains the long jumper.
Tough shot by Josh. Great recognition because both the Quebec defenders collapsed in and gave their backs to him for that outside shot.
Lalonde dish to Belfort. Quick release. No good.
Now that's good threat identification by, recognizing Colin Lalonde as a threat there. He's got to get the ball out of his hands and make a lesser threat, take that shot.
Lalonde really over pursuing. They do not want, he's trying to deny Josh Brown the ball every time he can.
A technical foul charge to Team Quebec, number 8, numero 8, Colin Lalonde.
I think they're calling the technical foul because Colin, as he went to fall, he put his foot out on the ground. And they did that yesterday in the game, so they're establishing some consistency in the way they're going to call this. I'd like to see Josh Brown step off the line for a moment here. He's kind of sitting there, and young players, they tend to come up and get on the line, and I think that frees them out. Don't step to the line until you're ready to gather yourself to shoot.
And with the officials conferring now, yeah, you see him kind of move around.
Okay, they're changing it to an intentional foul call. So that's tough because that'll give possession to Manitoba as well.
Now, did you see an intentional foul there? It looked like it was just an aggressive attempt to swipe and steal it away.
Yeah, basically when the officials, what they're watching for is to see if you make an attempt to play the ball, and if they don't feel you're making a legitimate attempt to play the ball, then they'll call an intentional foul. Yeah, Josh is sitting on the line there. He really needs to step off the line.
So they give the explanation to the Quebec sideline.
Nice shot by Josh. I'm surprised.
Yeah, he's making you eat your words.
He is.
Drains them both. He will not step off the line.
I'm sure he'll remind me about that next week when we're back at the training center.
Devino checks the clock, just 14.
There's that cross pick.
Tight quarters there. Not sure you want to make that pass.
You got to take that shot.
Both of them camped out in the lane for a long time. Inside, extra pass to Berube, and she finishes.
And Bougie did a great job picking in the open court to create the space that eventually gave him that gap and created the opportunity for Berube.
Brown working on the outside. Gets to that baseline, knocks it down.
2 minutes remaining. 2 minutes remaining.
Just this one. I'm here Thursday at 4. And we look forward to
At the elbow, they go inside. Giguère once again, free release to the rim. He's gotten in there, feels like every play here in the fourth quarter. Thiveno looking around. Knocks that one down. What we have seen here, while they've been, Quebec's allowing them to hit these outside shots, they are making them.
They are. There's no pressure on them. One of the things, you can give up the outside shot, but you always have to make it look like you're coming in, like you're coming out to get the ball.
Nice pass inside to Berube, and she converts and one.
Now you want your defense to be disruptive and deceptive. The disruptive part's easy. That's you're going to make contact and you're going to make the least threats shoot. The deceptive part is you can't let the other team make it easy for you to read you when you're a defensive player.
She will get that free throw up off the iron. Rebound no good. Under a minute left to go in this one. Brown slicing, dicing, can't hit it. And a travel called there on Giguère.
So one of the things you see, some of the ball handling difficulties for the different players. If you're a young player coming up in wheelchair basketball, there's really 4 things you want to work on when you're by yourself. You want to work on your pushing, so your chair mobility, your ball handling skills, your passing catching skills, and your shooting skills. Those are all things they can work on when they're by themselves.
Thiveno gets in, Roy has an attempt, can't hit it. And last 10 seconds now. Giguère gets into the lane.
Yeah, great cross pick in transition by Giguère to get himself rolling to the basket for that wide open look.
Wilton has it inbounded, and Quebec wraps up their win 67-34 to match Ontario and Alberta at 2-0. Here on the second day of the wheelchair tournament.
Yeah, Quebec, what they can really take out of this, they did a lot of the things that we're going to see them do in terms of their transition offense, back picking, creating opportunities in transition. But we also saw them make some slight adjustments. They didn't start with the ball in Ben Palmer's hands. They started someplace else and let Ben work without the ball. That's going to be something we're going to see later on in the tournament. And then a lot of their young players got good opportunities to grow. That's one of the things that's made Quebec such a consistent power at the Canada Games in wheelchair basketball, is they're constantly looking to develop those young players. For Manitoba, some great steps forward by their young players. They recognized, a lot of the cross-picking opportunities early. That was how they got to the rim. They didn't hit some of those shots. Then when those cross-picking opportunities dried up and they got opportunities to shoot from outside to take some of those looks, they hit some of those shots from outside. Their defense was nice and tight. They need to tighten up on their offensive rebounding. So both teams made some gains, and it'll be interesting to see how they move forward from here.
Well, Frog, it's been great working with you today. You're going to go home and take a break now.
I'm going to watch some more basketball. I'm going to
Watch
turn
some
this
more
over
basketball.
to,
Maybe have a beverage, enjoy yourself.
maybe, have a beverage, have a bite to eat, and turn things over to the more than capable Paul Bowes as he steps in. That's going to be a real treat for people coming up. Paul Bowes is one of the great ambassadors in the sport. He knows people all over the world. Very, very knowledgeable, and he'll be great for people to listen in.
So I'll be back with Paul in just about a half an hour for our next game of the day. We have British Columbia taking on Nova Scotia. We'll see you then.